You're listening to Catholic Chicago. Ahead, the Archdiocese of Chicago brings you programs about the people, events, and issues that touch our lives. Welcome to Catholic Chicago.
When I listen to my heart, I can hear you whisper, asking me lovingly to come and follow you. Here I am, did I hear you call my name? Here I am, as you will. Speak, my God, I am ready to.
Good morning. This is Dare to Live Show, and this is Sister Lavina Francis Pamet. I'm a Franciscan Sister of the Sacred Heart, and I'm also the coordinator for Religious Vocations Ministries for the Office for Religious in the Archdiocese of Chicago. And with me in person today is Father Mike Scherschel. He is the pastor of St. Hubert's in Hoffman Estates. Welcome, Father Mike.
Thank you, Sister.
And Father Mike actually is here with me also because Father Mike has always supported CAVA and the work of Vocation Ministry. And in fact, well, I'm going to let you introduce yourself, but I just wanted to say that not only is he pastor of St. Hubert's, you've also served as one of the board members for the Chicago Archdiocesan Vocation Association, otherwise known as CAVA. So why don't you introduce yourself, probably like your ministry role and maybe, you know, you're being a pastor, but also before being a pastor, what your role was in the past.
Yeah, so I've been a priest about 15 years now. So, but all that time, I've always been involved somehow in vocation work. So from the very first few years of the priesthood, I was at St. William's as an associate pastor, but I worked under Father Joe Noonan as well. He was the vocation director at the time. And there was assistant vocation directors in each of the vicariates. So I was one of those. So I did that for a while. And then for 6 years, I was asked to be director of recruitment at St. Joseph College Seminary. And so I worked with young men coming into the seminary to pursue and discern priesthood at that point in their life when they were in college. So those were some really, really good years and some great years to be with them and to journey with them. And then I became a pastor of St. Hubert.
Right. And, you know, it's so interesting because I remember, you know, as part of CAVA, before I got the job of being coordinator, you have already, in a way, either indirectly or directly, have worked with the religious vocation ministers. And who was the first person that you met that you kind of partnered with in CAVA?
Well, it was through the way that CAVA runs. A lot of it is there's through committee work, and one of the committees is local parish work. So I worked with that group at the time, the sisters and the brothers that were part of that group and that committee, and that the goal for that was how do you foster a sense of vocations in parishes. And so one of the ways is through presence and through being there and being witnesses of that, because we do know that, you know, it has to start, the vocation starts in a family, and then it's kind of nurtured in a family, but also absolutely through the parish.
Right.
And so Pope Francis calls the parish a family of families. And so, you know, so the parish is a real important place where it can be realized if there's support of it and there's talk about it, and young men and women can see it as a real alternative for their life or a choice for their life, you know, and that's a good choice and a good choice to make and a normal choice to make, and not something different but something fulfilling and meaningful.
Right. Yeah. And I think it's just so important for young people. I remember when I was really young, I really had no idea what direction my life was going. And that is a critical time to get some help, to be accompanied by our mentors, and well, it would have been not necessarily like for recruitment per se, but just a guidance, some sort of guidance. But you have some studies that you are here to share with us.
Yes, yeah, because it is really important for young people to realize that this is a normal choice. And I've been thinking about it for a long time, but we grow up, and people ask us, "Who do you want to be when you grow up?"
Right.
And really, it's so mind-boggling that the choices that you discover. But it's a different thing. What the church wants us to do is ask, "Who does God want me to be, and how can I love best in this world and fulfill the commandment that we all have, our baptismal commandment to love?" And it's very different when you ask God, "What do you want me to be?" versus "What do I want to be?"
Right.
And so it's kind of looking at that and always planting that idea into people's minds, because there is really good news out there in that young people are actually still open to it and considering it. So recently, the Office of Catholic Schools has they survey students and parents and teachers each year. They've been doing the last few years about Catholic education, but the Catholic piece that's different. It's called the 5 Essential Survey. But the Catholic piece is asking Catholic students, have you thought about religious life? And so the superintendent at the time, Jim Rigg, made sure he had that question in there to see what are young people thinking, because it's really helpful. And this past year, when they did that, so they asked the students, have you ever thought about a religious vocation? And how many times a year do you think about it? So the statistics tell us, on average, about 53% of students are thinking about it in the grade schools, at least once a year. And then as you go through the different levels, when you ask once a day, it's still about 11%. So that's about right. And so we know it's on their minds,
Right.
and that's archdiocesan wide, and that was just recently.
Right.
So we know it's on their minds. So now, how do you how can a parish, how can a school kind of bring that forward to someone who's really seriously thinking about it? And even if you're not going to pursue the religious life, what's good is, can you validate the people who are, instead of kind of putting it out there as a strange choice for people to make, which sometimes that comes forth in the culture, is that this is a beautiful choice to make. And why wouldn't we want to support someone who wants to do this in their life? And I think we find, what I found in the parish is that people do celebrate that. They value that. And so when someone says, I want to pursue it, there's actually a lot of support, especially at the parish level, for that.
What I find interesting, and I first got the report from Melissa Link, who is a director for Mission Identity in the Office for Catholic Schools. And when she presented it to us, what she pointed to us was the fact that the schools where the students actually had a high percentage of saying that they think about God and that they think about a vocation in religious life and service in the church, of being a priest or a sister or a brother or someone who's ordained, or even as a lay ecclesial leader, are those that whose staff and parish leaders and school leaders are visible and are supportive. And so they look to the adults, to their leaders, to the staff, the faculty. And if they are exposed to any religious or ordained people in their life, then that's the highest. And one other thing is social justice and social awareness in the society. So it just seems like, I think that is a very important aspect of what we need to put forth there, as well as like having programs in the parish. And I was looking at your website, Father Mike, and you are very active in terms of engaging people, including young people. Can you tell us more about that?
Yeah, the witness is a very, very powerful thing, and whenever you talk to someone who's discerning, and you know this very well, they always point to somebody that was a role model to them, or someone who was a strong witness and that it was compelling, and because it gives them an opportunity to see that, oh, I can do this too. I can see this in myself. You don't have to be a that we have those images of the saints with the halos around us, but really, we live in the world,
Right.
and we live within the problems of everyday life, and
Right.
you can still have God in your life, and you still can choose God and choose that for life.
Yeah.
And we're blessed because St. Hubert has an interesting diversity in the parish life.
Yeah. So, Taste of St. Hubert's you've had as a tradition, but you also tacked into there an opportunity for religious and seminarians to be available. Now, we're in about 2 minutes, we're going to be taking a short break, but I think we can talk a little bit more, and then when we come back, maybe talk a little bit more about Taste of St. Hubert's. So, other than Taste of St. Hubert's, which we'll be talking about after we get back from the break, what other programs do you have?
Well, just a little, maybe just real
Sure.
briefly about our community, because we have we really foster a sense of vocations. We have a strong marriage ministry, which is really important, not just for marriage prep, but also marriage enrichment.
Wonderful.
We have just worshiping with us each weekend. We have 2 sisters from the poor handmaids of Jesus Christ that come and
Okay.
worship with us.
Yes.
And we have Alexian brothers, because they're in our area. They come to worship with us every weekend. And then we have, of course, our deacons. And we also have a parish that has a consecrated virgin as well.
Wow.
So we try to celebrate the diversity of our community and our parish life.
That's wonderful because that provides a well-rounded vocation awareness for everyone. That, as you mentioned earlier, it's not just some strange option. It is like this whole gamut and diversified way to choose where am I being called to be. So, and then also when we get back, other than talking about Taste of St. Hubert's, which I missed because I was away at the time, but also about this special young woman who actually joined a religious I believe the Salesian community that you have supported all along. And so we're going into a short break, and then after we come back, we're going to talk about Taste of St. Hubert's, the Vocation Fair, and about Sister Jasmine. Can we call her Sister Jasmine now? Okay, great.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll be back. Don't go away, folks.
Stranger and a pilgrim in this world. Sometimes I wonder what this journey will bring, and you guide me faithfully to find a home in you. Here
Catholic Charities Refugee Resettlement Program has been especially busy this year, assisting individuals and families who have fled dangerous situations in their homeland, including Afghanistan and the Ukraine. The Refugee Resettlement Team helps with everything they need to start to rebuild their lives in a new country, including housing, employment, clothing, food, English classes, and referrals for legal and immigration services. The refugees are tremendously grateful for the compassion and practical help they're receiving, and they're giving back and helping each other plan for a brighter, safer future. Volunteer opportunities are currently available for those who would like to be family mentors and tutors so children and adults can practice English. To learn more about these rewarding opportunities, call 312-655-7096. That's 312-655-7096.
I feel special. I feel great. I got good grades.
We've seen a huge surge in our kids now meeting or exceeding grade level. Come check us out. You may have never thought we were an option before.
Our school communities provide students with academic excellence and character education in a supportive and stable learning environment. Come see for yourself. Visit archchicago.org/findaschool.
Did you know that Catholic Charities accepts car donations? If you're ready to free up space in your garage and put a stop to all those expenses that go along with owning a car, we will gratefully accept your donation, whether the car is running or not. You choose a pickup time that is convenient for you, and we will make the donation as easy as possible, free of charge. You'll receive a charitable donation receipt as well. We accept all types of vehicles nationwide, and you will know that your donation is made to Catholic Charities, an agency you can trust. To learn more about donating your car, call 877-786-4483. That's 877-786-4483. Thank you.
Call my name. Here I am, as you will. Speak, my God.
And we are back to Dare to Love show. I am Sister Lavina, and our guest today is Father Mike Scherschel, pastor of St. Hubert's in Hoffman Estates. And we were just talking about how St. Hubert's is very much, the whole community of St. Hubert's, especially led by Father Mike here, who's also, by the way, part of CAVA, serving as board member. And for so many years, did you say for maybe over 20 years that you've been working on vocation ministry, and now at St. Hubert's, your community is very much involved in vocation awareness and promoting that awareness that there's a lot of options for young people nowadays. One of which is the Taste of St. Hubert's. Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Yeah, I mean that's a really a beautiful event that happens annually at the parish, and it's really just a way to celebrate the different cultures that are present in our community. So we have a large Filipino presence, we have a large Indian presence, we have people from India, we have Polish presence, and so all kinds of different ethnic groups. And so it's an ability to come together, celebrate our diversity, and share the food that we all grew up with and love. So it's a really nice thing. But also this year we wanted to show the diversity of religious life within our community. So I had mentioned before the break the different religious life that we can celebrate in the midst of our own parish, which was very eye-opening for a lot of people. And so one of the things we did is we invited religious sisters and brothers to come and to pray with us, and then to enjoy the evening with us. So they were able to, we introduced them, and then they intermingled with all of the parishioners at the party that followed, the taste that followed. So it was a really nice thing, and people really loved that, to get to know them and to see them. And then the next day we had a parish vocation fair where we introduced them at every Mass, and they were able to talk to people in a casual way after a Mass. So.
That's great. And also, as an example of your support for vocation awareness and for those who are discerning, and feeling called and invited to join a religious community, you've been working with this young lady, Jasmine.
Yeah, so I'll always remember the day when she came up and a little timid and said that she really wanted to explore religious life. And she's very young, and so it was just a great thing. And so we connected her through CAVA, and but she had been also discerning on her own, and she decided that she wanted to pursue this in a deeper way, and so she found a community, and she entered, and we've just been trying to support her and love her and show her that this is, just to support her.
And you interviewed her, and Mike May, who is our sound engineer today, and sitting with him, by the way, is Sister Kathy McNulty, whom I used to work with and now works with preschool children, and she's just visiting today, so she's keeping Mike company. But Mike is going to show us the video of the interview that Father Mike did with Sister Jasmine.
Yeah, so we've been sharing these videos as she's gone through the process. So this is when she entered, I think, this her second year.
Oh, so it's like a follow-up.
Yeah.
Wonderful. How exciting. So, Mike?
Hi, everyone. Look who's back.
Hi.
Jazzy's back for a little bit of a break, and so we thought we'd just see how things were going. How did your year go?
Well, my year went by really fast, but it was beautiful. There were many little blessings. It wasn't always easy. I've learned a lot about living in community life. So I had my ups and downs, but overall, it was a huge blessing to experience and go through this.
So what kinds of things did you do this past year?
Oh, okay, that I can answer. So this past year, I did a lot of studying. So I had different classes that I went to. Some of the classes were learning about our founder and co-founder. Some of them were learning about music, others different types of way to pray. There are so many different types of way to pray that I didn't quite know all of them, but I learned a lot about that. As well as I had an apostolate that I got to experience, so I got to work with kids on a virtual oratory from 5 years old to 14 years old, which is pretty cool. I got to meet kids from all over in different parts of the country, so we had Mexico too and Canada. I also got to work with kids in a school setting, so with kindergartners I got to experience that, some like an assistant of sorts, and then just play around with them in the playground and have fun and different things like that.
Okay, and so what's next for you? What's on the horizon?
Okay, so I recently wrote a petition, which is like a letter asking to be accepted for the next year. And so the second year, because my first year is now done, the second year we call postulancy. And so for postulancy, I recently got accepted. And so that's next for me. I will be heading back to New Jersey and working at a summer camp. And then around August, I'll be heading to California and starting postulancy, new studies, new experience, and meeting new people.
Okay, and I know you've been staying in touch with some of the people from St. Hubert. Yeah, tell us a little bit about how that's been for you to hear from us.
It has felt so much like home. It has felt so much like home, and hearing from family members, but with people that I've never met but are impacted by this and what God's doing in my life. It has been so beautiful to meet so many different people through letters. So if you want, please write to me. I'll write back.
Okay, also, what have been some of the blessings and some of the challenges that you've had so far?
So some of the challenges, as I'm sure we all experience, is COVID. We didn't get to experience a formation, which is what they call a year study. We didn't get to experience it like they have done in the past. So this was entirely new. We had to, it felt limited in some ways, but the blessing was that we still got to experience something. And what we did get to experience, it was all the more richer because it was just God at work in everything, and even the littlest event that typically you'd be like, okay, whatever. It was a huge blessing. Another challenge that I faced was discerning, which is absolutely normal, but I have to keep asking myself, and God, of course, because God decides, is this where you want me? Do I feel called to this community? Do I feel like I fit to this apostolate, which is the work that I do, which is with kids and teaching and playing and fostering the environment and leading them to Christ and leading Christ to them. So I have to keep asking myself these questions and asking God and spending time in prayer and just some quiet time so you can pray on your own and hear God.
Yeah, we know you also are an expert in sign language.
Oh,
and that
yes.
You're an interpreter for the deaf. Can you maybe teach us some more?
Certainly.
Maybe just, during the Mass we say, peace be with you, right?
Okay.
And so, and with your spirit, right? So if you could use your signs, how would you say that to one another?
Okay, so that's peace be with you. So you make your hands like this. You put it kind of like it's an L, but an upside down V. Then you're gonna smush it together, then smush it away from each other. That's peace. And then if you get your thumbs up, but you put your thumbs on your hand, you put it together, that's with. And then you could just sign you as a person. So you do peace be with you. And then the response is with your spirit. We, with, so we go the same thing, with. And then you put these fingers together, this finger out, and you push it, your. And then spirit, you can choose. This is where you can get fancy. You can choose your pointer or your middle finger. And then you put this one kind of out, like there's a little hole. And then you do spirit or spirit, whatever you're comfortable with. So, peace be with you and with your spirit.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Well, God bless you as you return, and
Thank you.
our prayers are with you.
Thank you very much, and I'm praying for all of you too.
I loved it. This must be like the third time that I've seen that video, and I love that that entire peace be with you, and also let's see, also with you. Wait, and the spirit.
And
May
with
the
your
spirit be with you.
Yeah, she's a good teacher, isn't she? Yeah, she's really good with children. So that's her.
She
her
seems
charisma.
so happy. Yeah, I just want to personally thank you for being that support for Jassy and for anybody else, the young people that are in much need of just a listening ear. And that's who you are and the people at St. Hubert's. We have like maybe 2 more minutes left. Is there anything that you would like to say to others, to encourage them, young people and adults alike?
Yeah, I guess for the parishes out there, I think one of the good things is to, again, to continue to talk about it. There's times during the year that it's naturally fits in. And in the fall, we have National Vocation Awareness Week. So those are important moments. We have the World Day of Prayer for vocations in the spring. There's Good Shepherd Sunday. There's just kind of natural cycles within the year to just promote it and make sure you have a bulletin board there with all of the opportunities, because that's what Jazzy was telling us is that was important to her to know where to find events and how to link in. And so a parish can find those opportunities. But for the young person who's considering it, you have to know that you're not alone. And there's so much help and support for you to figure it out. And there's a lot of people that are trying to work with you, and not to be afraid, because it's natural. And when you know what you're doing, what God wants you to do, it comes with peace and joy, and you live a happy life.
That's right. Thank you so much for that advice. So young folks, you're listening to Father Mike. Don't be afraid. Just come right out and let us know. If you want to contact us, you can always go to our website at vocationscava.org. That's vocationscava.org. God bless everybody. Thank you again, Father Mike, for being here. I hope you'll come back.
Thank you.
And God bless to St. Hubert's, too.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you, Mike May. Thank you, Sister Kathy. They're out there.
The grace to love and to be faithful, to be more like you. Here I am. Did I hear you call my name? Here I am as you will.
Join us every Monday through Friday at this time for Catholic Chicago. You can stream our programs live or listen to past programs by visiting our website, archchicago.org, and clicking on Radio TV. And please connect with Catholic Chicago on social media.
This is what